pressure affect the child's mental health or the child's ability to perform, and how this pressure can be converted into a positive pressure. That is what we are looking at in today's webinar. And I'm very glad to be joined by a panel of eminent speakers and very experienced educators who has joined us today to be a part of this discussion, which is beyond the early childhood years. But again, this is something very vital. And now is the season of the board exams, and it's still going on for the CBSE and ICSE boards, though the state boards must have completed their exams. And this entire environment is very volatile in terms of the performance of the students. So let us delve into this topic and understand more on it. And so today I'm joined by Dr. Mayuri Dutt. She is the director of Don Bosco School, Malda, West Bengal, and a ECDF patron member. She is an educator, psychologist, human rights activist, science communicator, and 13 Guinness World Record creator. And she has been a winner of a lot of reputed awards. Welcome, Dr. Mayuri.
Hi.
We have with us Seema Goswami, a certified career counselor from UCLA Extension and registered career counselor with the Career Council of India. Seema Goswami, founder of Pro Career Guides, has worked in educational field in various capacities as head teacher, school head, and school coordinator with more than 10 years experience in the field of teaching. She is also a recipient of many awards. Welcome, Ms. Seema.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
We have Mrs. Subham Bhakat, who is an experienced school principal and education leader with extensive leadership experience in corporate schools across South and North India. Subham has worked with CBSE, ICSE, and state board curricula. Known for his expertise in educational technology and pedagogy, he specializes in CBSE affiliation, cost optimization, and talent acquisition. Welcome, Mrs. Subham. And we have with us Jahnabi Sharma, a counseling psychologist, art therapist, and psychotherapist, SEL counselor based in Guwahati. She is a member of ECDF and has over 6 years of experience in the field. She holds an MSc in counseling, psychology, and specializes in rational emotive behavior therapy, RABT, and cognitive behavior therapy, CBT. Ms. Sharma has offered services in art therapy and is recognized as a master trainer in her domain. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you.
And so, without ado, let us dive into this very interesting topic about pressure. Now, let me come to Ms. Dr. Mayuri. Dr. Mayuri has extensive experience, working with children, working with schools in general, looking into so many aspects of a school. And here, when we talk about the board examination, I feel I would first want to hear from her what exactly is pressure. The pressure that is built up on the students, and also how much pressure for students is too much pressure. Over to you, Dr. Mayuri.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome aboard on such a very important topic. It's all about pressure and stress, anxiety. My dear members, I would really believe that pressure is no pressure for children. It is a pressure for the parents who create or rather generate this kind of pressure for the children because of social, you can say, feelings that no, if other child can do better, why not our child? So basically, when I talk about pressure, I talk about various boards in our country. We compare a lot with the Western countries. But if we look into the process and the proceedings and the teaching system of the Western world, it is really a playway method and experiential learning, when the child is not only getting knowledge through theoretical exploration in the classroom, but they get special knowledge, and you can say they create various activities in connection with subjects they learn. So this way, or this method, which we really now believe is a Finland academic style, we believe that children are not pressurized because they take studies in a playway method. But when we talk about Indian India as a country, wherein from the beginning it was more pressure on theoretical knowledge and theoretical compliance of a child. So, in that context, this board examination has become a very big hue and cry. Herein, what exactly happened is a child's social networking is stopped. A child is stopped from any kind of, you can say, mixing with their own family members and people, and they are kept in one room to study, prepare according to the few chapters nowadays which they have to study. If we go back to time, I think I'm plus 60. I remember studying the whole book for our preparation of examination. But in today's scenario, we must be aware that the various boards have specifically identified and selected chapters for children to study because they believe it is not the pressure of the children, it's pressure of the circumstances and the society. So for me, I personally believe that pressure is created, generated. It's not a pressure which is felt by children. Now, what they are basically have to do is that they have to make sure that they get good marks. They are to be evaluated properly. We all know that nowadays the technology has actually really reduced our brain into pin size. What we basically do is that whenever we want to do anything, we just check from Google and copy paste it and prepare. So presently, we say about pressure. In the exam, here in the pressure is that the kid has to memorize and write on his own, and that is where the actual pressure is. The second pressure is that if I cannot do well, something can be done, something will be done, something will be expected. And that's the pressure wherein you must be hearing through various social media networking that there are more than 1,100 students who have committed suicide during this period of the examination. Every state, one student or the other is doing so. The reason is probably we have not done well. This probability is a very bad word now, which is there in the minds of students. That means it's not pressure, it's a confidence which the children are lacking. And so we can put forward that the kids' confidence is lacking now, and that turns into pressure, anxiety, and discomfort and difficulty, which creates many kind of medical problem. Like physically, they don't want to move forward. They are not motivated to do anything. Secondly, the peer pressure is there. Teacher's pressure is there that you had been the best one. We expect the best from you. So all these kind of people's words generate the pressure, and I think that I believe is to be considered as pressure, which I don't think we should take it. The loss of confidence, self-esteem, the fear of failures leading to extreme self-criticism. This is also a very difficult part for children. And then what happens that they stop expressing themselves and they do self-harm. So, and that actually happens because of the avoidance of studies from the initial stage and learning the basic. Today's scenario is this: the kids, if they're going to tuitions, that is more than enough for them for preparation. But what are the tuition tutors are doing? I'm not against anyone, but the fact of the matter is they are only helping children to crack the exam. After that, what will happen? They're only learning to crack an exam like joint entrance and NEET. But when they're going to the institution, are they able to do any kind of descriptive work which they're supposed to by learning the concept of what they have to do further? So that's what is happening in our country. And I believe that expressing their thoughts is also leading them to extreme pressure. Now, focus and efforts on various progress. You know, when a child is progressing, we need to behave in such a manner so that they are motivated to go further. But instead, what happens is it is the parents who are not demotivating them, and that turns into another pressure. So balancing their academic pressure also is a worry, and that is considered as, I can say, pressure. So what I believe in is we have to keep open communication with our children when they are learners, not examiners. We have to make sure that they are open to share all the thoughts which they come to them, so that their pressure is a little released. And well, a little pressure is always needed for motivation. I believe in that as a teacher, but it should not be harmful. That is the limit. So that's what I would start with. I hope my other members will have more to add up with what I just finished with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mayuri. Some very insightful things like the pressure is from the parent from and the child's
Correct.
lack of confidence
Correct.
because they get into that overall the pressure cooker situation, I would say, because they are kind of sapped from all the
I
sides and they don't know what to do.
I'll
And
just quote one example. I believe you must have read that CBSE, who had prepared a timetable, the routine 3 months back, have all of a sudden given a notification that students, those who are able to sit for exam on the 15th, which was a Hindi paper, they can sit. Those who are unable to, they will be given the date along with the students who will be sitting for the complementary examination. Is it a correct way of running our education system of the country? So that's where the pressure arises that students who are planning for going for joint entrance, NEET, and other professional examinations, they have to come back or they have to forcefully sit for the exam on the 15th. So that is a mental pressure, and somehow knowingly and unknowingly, we are creating that with our children.
yes, and it is confusing them and it is also creating a lot of stress for them.
Correct.
So I would move on to our next speaker, Mr. Shubham. And my question to you is because you are a school principal and you've been working in close contact with students and I think you meet them on a regular basis in the schools. Again, I would give you the same question. Pressure, how much pressure is too much pressure? And what is your take on this entire board exam scenario that happens, in and around the school and in and around the house?
Good evening, everyone. So, what I think this particular question that you have asked maybe about parental pressure or self-imposed pressure, rather. So, I don't really think that it is always from the parents. It is also from the school side as well. And uh, I cannot be a hypocrite, and I am known for telling all the truth all the time. So I would say ki from the perspective of the school management or from the leadership team, we always expect that the child will score well, and I will have a lot of hoardings on the main Chauha. So there, a lot of students will from my school will score 95%, 99%, and that will give me an edge. And I am not someone who is not supporting this, but it should not result in. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yes. So I think therefore it's not always the parents who are into this. It is also the students who think that I might not be doing well than my cousins, and there is always the Sarmaji ka beta in all of our families. So they keep on comparing, and when we compare with each other, then we come to like a never-ending desire of marks. So when we are talking from the perspective of a school leader looking into the mark sheet, we evaluate the performance of the teacher on the basis of how many 90s from your batch and how many 90s from your batch. So there is always a kind of pressure from the leadership team towards the teachers. So, and apart from this, if we come to the parents, so the parents at times they try to get their dreams fulfilled uh, through the child. So when this kind of scenario happens, so they will give examples like the parents try to compare the child with one's own childhood. So when I was in my school days, I used to ride 20 kilometers bicycle and used to go to the school, and I used to do this things, that things. So we keep on a comparison. And this kind of comparison creates a lot of stress in the students. And we are deliberately doing this. And you will find a lot of examples. Kota, which has turned out to be a suicide factory, because a lot of stress from the not only the parents but also the coaching institutes, so who put enormous amount of stress to the students. And when we put them under a pressure cooker, we cannot expect that the child will score well. Maybe the child will score well. So I'll give you an example from my own life. So years back, I had a child in the class grade 10 ICSC, and the child was really good with literature. And me myself being an English teacher, like she always used to come to me and tell ki, like, sir, I am interested into literature. But the parents wanted her to be a doctor. And the parents wanted her to be a doctor, and fortunately or unfortunately, the child took up medicine. And in the second year of her MBBS course, she committed suicide. And that was like, I was expecting this kind of a thing, and that turned out to be truth. So we cannot put a kind of a pressure where the child is not interested. So therefore, understanding the perspective of the child is very important. Therefore, as Mayuri ma'am was telling about the things going on in the West, where the IB curriculum is much more popular there, and the IB curriculum always talks about a stress-free kind of a education, and every 5 years there is a change in the curriculum. But we have NEP 2020 and we are waiting for the implementation, but the things are quite different here. And CBSE is trying to cope up with a lot of challenges that we are facing from the perspective of that of a developing nation. We have 120 DP IB schools in India, only 120, where there are around 29,000 CBSE schools and approximately 2,400 ICSE schools. So the kind of curriculum that we are trying to drive, like bring in CBSE curriculum, will be much difficult as compared to IB schools, because the schools located in the rural of India, in rural India, the things will not reach out there. You will not get the best workforce. You will not get the best infrastructure. So a CBSE school affiliated in a X village will not have those. So tier one cities, tier two cities can manage. So basically, we have to make sure that we have a proper channel. Like in my school, I believe I always talk with the students. I'm always engaged with the students. I believe if you are feeling a kind, like if you feel stress, and I have already started a session, like talk with the principal kind of a session, where the child during the stress, like when they feel stressed during the board exam, I am available during the school working hours, so they can call me and reach out to me, and they can ask me like how they will be able to cope up. So a lot of things need to be done. So it should not be like wellness coach or this kind of a coach should not be on paper. They should be there in the school. So they, like, it should not be that once it's done and on paper that particular person is there, but that person is never present in the school. So in most of the schools you will see like the principal or the coordinator or the vice principal is dealing with all this, but I don't think always the principal or the vice principal or the coordinator is not the best person to talk, not the best person to approach. There are specialized people who will be able to deal this in a much better way. There are other speakers in the line who will be able to, in the queue, who will be able to tell much more uh, in details about the same. So I believe what CBSE is trying to do is there is a draft already being prepared where there will be 2 times board examination. So that will get implemented from 2026 if everything goes fine. So there, the child who writes the exam for the first time and feels that I will not be scoring well, there will be a chance for that child to write again, reappear once again, so that it gives a flexibility to the child. But again, from the child's perspective, it I don't know how many schools will be opting for this two curriculum, like two board examination, because it is up to the school to decide. So, therefore, if the child feels, and also there is a change in standard mathematics and basic mathematics, in the same way, there will be standard science, basic science, there will be standard social science and basic social science. So this two advanced level and basic level will be there so that the child can opt from his or her own choice. So CBSE from that point of view is trying their best to bring in a stress-free kind of education for all the children. So again, I believe this kind of comparison where between the siblings and like you will find a lot of parents blackmail their kids like in terms of like what I would say like if you are not doing this so आप ये देखोगे वो देखोगे तो we have to make sure that we are not blackmailing them, we have to give them the freedom. So if we don't give them the freedom to choose, they will end up doing disasters in their own life, right? So, for myself, when I was in grade 5, I was pretty sure that I wanted to be an English teacher, and then it was decided. So, therefore, I was blessed from this point of view. My parents like never forced me to pursue any field career. So, born and brought up in Bengal, and like literature is something that we are attached with. So, and you see now the parents want their kids to be either a doctor or an engineer. So, but I think things are changing. Like there is a sea change and the paradigm shift in the entire idea of curriculum, and a lot of career counselors are there who are helping out the students, and career guidance from the school's perspective also should be done. And from the film Three Idiots, where Farhan says, he like maybe I will earn less than my friends. I will not get that bungalow or that house or that car, but I will be happy doing the thing that I love doing. So the passion comes first, then comes other things. So therefore, I believe the kind of pressure that we are talking about, it is the school, the parents, everyone must take the accountability that we don't make this a race or a competition. We have to make them that this is just sharing of knowledge, learning new things, and therefore the holistic approach should be given the much uh, better priority, and it should not be like only in the like documents, but it should be implemented. So implementation of NEP 2020 will solve a lot of problems, I guess. So if that is properly implemented, so I hope that the students will be able to solve a lot of problems, and the board exam will no longer be a stress. And like 10th and 12th is the most important exam, we should not tell like this kind of things to the student. We have to tell them, but it should not be that they feel in a type like it's not a burden for them, and they should feel free, and they can do the things that they want to do. And one more thing I would like to say is like one more example. Like there are other speakers who will tell a lot in details about the pressure and all this, but I will give you another live example. So my niece, who is now in grade 6, so day before yesterday I was talking to her and she was telling ki, Mama, I don't love the month of March. It's only about exams. So you see, like March equals to exams. So we have to make the kid understand that exam is just not testing of your knowledge. it is something where you should enjoy. There should be innovation. Therefore, I believe that the things like implementation of AI, implementation of technology in the school will solve a lot of problems. Where she was sharing that I have started uh, with coding, I've started with robotics. So these are the new things that can be implemented, and the child should not be forced in one direction to be a doctor or an engineer. The child should be given the wings to fly, and we should also make sure that from the school's perspective, we arrange several seminars and conferences for the parents as well to educate them. So this kind of session is absolutely necessary. So I always encourage this kind of things in my school. So I believe that a lot of leaders will understand this kind of problems and will try to think from a more humanitarian ground rather than only looking like like focusing on the numbers or how many IITs and IIMs from my school, so or NEET. So therefore, we have to make sure that we come out of this and we focus solely on knowledge and also make the education stress free and child centric. So this is from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Shubham. A lot of points taken and very good perspective from a school principal, because generally principals are driven by marks and the number of students who have really done well, and the number of scores and XYZ. So you talked about the self-imposed pressure, which is so true, is not always parental pressure, but so many times children put the pressure on themselves after seeing what is happening in and around their environment. And then again, the parents' dream being fulfilled through the child is another aspect which is very common, and it is seen everywhere. It's a very common phenomenon, I would say, in our society. And the comparison, and which is beyond collaboration, because when you compare, it's always about competition, and competition leads to a lot of negative stress in a way. And then you also spoke about the specialized people who can deal with such difficulties when children have. And here we have one specialized person, a mental health expert. She's also associated with ECDF, and we do a lot of work related to stress and all of it. So when we talk about stress, now we know what is societal stress, what is parental stress, what is the child in self-imposed stress, what is the stress from the school and the coaching centers that are trying to highlight students who are really doing well, etc. But what exactly is the effect of stress on the child? So we need to know that also, because many times parents feel that we are not actually putting our child on stress, in stress, and we are like we are just expecting what a normal parent should expect. But what is actually happening within the child is very difficult to conceive, to understand. And here we have Janvi, and my question for her is, how can students create a healthier study routine to protect mental health? But before that, you tell us about the exam stress and its effect on the body. Now, after you elaborate on what actually affects the body, and sometimes, because of stress, good students are also not able to perform in the exam, because they go and they get, very jittery, and they get panicky, and they are not able to perform. They're not even able to see the paper straight, read it straight. So the effect of stress on the brain and body, we would like to hear from you, and also how they can create a more healthier study routine to protect their mental health. Over to you, Jan.
Yes, ma'am. So, good evening, everyone. So, indeed, a very crucial topic that we are discussing today, and I really hope that this discussion reaches, especially the parents and the students who are appearing the exams. So, I have heard a lot of discussion about the pressure and the environment and the stress that they go through. But the most important thing is that there will be competition no matter what. So even though we think that that we should not compare or competition, but somewhere or down the line it will be either the self imposed by the students or the parents, it will be there. Now the question is like, how does the stress affect our brain? So what happens is, first, it affects our hippocampus, which is actually the memory center that we call. When it affects the hippocampus, all of our past experiences, our knowledge, of what we have studied, what we have stored, what we have studied and prepared. The whole preparation process gets impact because it impacts creates a hurdle in recalling the information, and that is why we see that many of the students, when they go to the exam hall, they tend to forget or they become blank, right? The next is the amygdala. So we all know the role of amygdala, which is the emotion center, the emotional brain, we can say. It becomes very active or overactive for that matter, and our decision making power is affected at that point of time, and we are only in the mode of flight or fight response, whether we are anxious, we are stressed, we don't know what to do, we are in a panic state. And third, coming back our cortisol, we all know that when we are stressed, the stress hormone, which is the cortisol, is released in a lot of amount, due to which again our memory, our cognition functions are impacted. So because of this stress, our memory functions is affected, and that is how our performance might get impact. Now coming to the body, if we talk about body, so when we talk about body, we talk about both physical health, and the mental health, right? So physically, a lot of, we see that this is also very common when we are mentally stressed or disturbed. We feel a lot of sleep deprived, we disturb sleep, we are not able to sleep properly, and then maybe we sleep, but then again we wake up in the middle of the night. So that is how again it impacts our cognition. Next morning we are not able to recall, we don't remember the things we have studied, and again we are in the panic mode. We try to study till the exam bell that actually rings. And second of all, it has a lot of effect on our digestive system. We tend to eat more. So sometimes when we call there's some called examination anxiety, when we tend to we feel butterflies in our stomach, and we tend to eat more. So there are some people who eats more, and there are some people who not at all, they feel hungry, so they are like, no, no, I'm not hungry now, let this get over, let this get over. So this has a lot of effect on our digestive system, be it we are overeating or be it we are not eating at all. And then again it leads to fluctuation in our weight. Sometimes we are overweight or we lose weight during this time. Third, lot of this stress, when we're talking about the mental pressure from everybody, so we are repressing our emotions and thoughts and whatever worries we are taking, and it is getting stored somewhere in the body. So that is why we tend to feel a lot of headache. We have an upset stomach before going to an exam hall or before the next exam. We feel that our stomach is not well. We're feeling a lot of headache, you're feeling dizzy, and since the board exams are still going on, and I work in school, so I've seen that there are many students, sometimes they also have stomach issues, then vomiting issues. This is because of the stress. This is not because that they have seen the exam paper and they don't know, but this is because of the built up thing that they have taken, and it is getting stored inside the body, right? So now coming back to when we talk about how they can plan a proper structure. So here the management would be that the parents, including the students, need to be together in this. It is not only about the student but also parents as well, since we are talking about the parents pressure and the mental health of students. The first thing is the students, and parents also need to ensure this, that they need to have a proper study structure. They need to implement a lot of different study techniques. There are many different study techniques where they can structure it. One is called the Pomodoro method. I'm sure that you all must be familiar, and students also, they now try, but then again because of the worry and the stress, they tend to get forget, and they again go back to the monotonous studying methods. And they need to have a lot of note making. Different techniques, like I said, one is Pomodoro, a lot of note making where they can actually make notes. Different One technique is that they can use mind mapping, where they can remember the basic information, not the whole structure, so that when they can go in the exam hall, and when they are writing, so they remember the notes, the keywords, not not the entire thing, but they remember the keywords, and then they can frame the sentence on their own, rather than simply rote learning or by hearting. And the third is that you need to have a proper diet. So you need to not forget, parents also need to ensure that they have to take proper meal. okay, when it comes to food, because sometimes students might skip the food because or not take care of the diet when the exams are near or when the preparation is going on. So the diet is important and ample amount of rest. So if you're thinking that, or if you are going through something like you are losing out in your concentration, you think that not remembering, you're forgetting the next moment, so please take a break. Please make sure that you take a break. You go out, you take some fresh air, you drink some water, you come back fresh, so that you again sit back with a fresh mind when you are actually able to concentrate. Don't just sit there for the sake of sitting. And then you have to practice a lot of there are many stress relief techniques and meditation techniques where you can release your stress. So do deep breathing, keep on doing deep breathing, and do relaxation. When you're journaling is one thing that can help you. I suggest all of my students, even though there is not because of the exam, also in general, also when you are emotionally overwhelmed or you a lot of things going on, then please take a journal, do journaling. It doesn't take much of time. If you are taking 10 minutes of a day before sleeping, before getting to bed, please take a journal and then write it down. You'll feel a lot lighter. So do journaling and mindful breathing. We all talk about mindfulness, so please, it's important for you to pause, even though it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just pause and reflect on whatever you have been doing, whatever you have been studying, how is the preparation going. So pause and reflect. Reflection is very important when it comes to preparing. And please don't hesitate from sharing your emotions with your parents. If you are overwhelmed, if you are overthinking, if you are stressed, please make sure, if not parents, at least somebody will be there to share with you. Please make sure that you share with your seniors or anybody elder ones with whom you feel comfortable. And yes, you need to take care of your mental health as well. And if you are open about, if you have open communication with your parents, with anybody, and don't do self comparison. Because a lot of time, we see that many of the speakers have told also about the self imposed pressure, because now is the time when they actually compare themselves with other peers in matters of anything, not just exam, not just board exams. With regard to any matter, they compare looks, size, and then how they look, what is the career options, what they have, what they don't have. The comparison is, earlier we had it from our parents, but now the children, they have it from their own. Right, so this comparison is there in this generation. So please, so they should avoid, or parents should ensure that this comparison should not be there. And whatever is there, the environment should be good. It's not about the student, it's about the parents also. So they need to also have open communication. Like I said, the emotion mapping should be there. Emotion should come first, and then the study, the preparation, or everything that goes on. Because the biologically what happens is not seen. Right, we only see the curriculum, we only see the question paper and everything else, but we don't see the biology. So the things that go unseen, we need to take note of that. And yes, I hope this session helps every viewer who is watching. And we can actually implement new techniques and strategies where we can make this system, board exam, or for that matter any exam, stress free, right? So yeah, this is what I had to offer from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janvi. A very detailed strategy shared. And I feel that, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So sorry about some technical issues, I think. So I feel that, yeah, a lot of strategies need to be taken by the students, because they need to understand their ability, the ability to handle stress, and how much they can actually handle and how much they can perform. And also, the strategies that you have shared would actually help them. Mind mapping is something I really talk with even my own son, and which is very important in terms of, if somebody forgets, it may be a situation where you get very nervous and you forget, and then if you have a mind map, it helps you in at least putting down the main points and all of it. So thank you so much for sharing your insight, and I'm sure this will reach to many people, and children as well, students as well, who would be benefiting from it. And looking at this from a parental angle, because I have today I opted to moderate and also be a speaker of the session because I have my son appearing for the board exams, and he just finished one paper today. He's from the ICSE board, and I can see that this pressure. Sometimes it's self-imposed, yes, because nowadays children are very smart and they feel that they need to do well, and there are a lot of things going on in their mind which they don't share. And I feel, yes, a lot of pressure is self-imposed, but at the same time, I have understood that the environment also creates a lot of pressure. Be it, the people around you, your family, and the school. Everybody is like into that mode of uh, putting a lot of stress, pressure on the child. Even when they come to greet you for your exams, do well, we have expectations on you, all of that actually scares the child more. So we are not leaving them alone, we are here, we are like with them, gifting them things, gifting them pens, all of that actually creates, because they start feeling that this is something unusual. In class 8 or 9 they were not getting all of this, so something unusual is happening somewhere. They need to perform, do, and show it to the world. So that kind of a feeling automatically comes. I feel that children who can deal with such feelings are blessed, but everybody is not so emotionally self-regulated. Everybody may not be able to handle the stress and the pressure that they see and feel around them. And even seeing the faces of parents, because from the parental angle, when my son, he's performing quite well, but one paper he was a little unsure, and the amount of, because as a parent even I would undergo, oh, are you unsure? So that in fact stressed him. He said that you don't get stressed, it's nothing to be stressed about. So so that kind of a interaction that we have is actually creating a lot of difficulties for students, I feel. And we are also human, so we will definitely have those kind of emotions, but we need to keep it under check, and we need to be more regulated. And even if we are feeling something as parents, we need to not share with them at that moment, because they are still under the pressure of the exams. And I would like to share a few strategies for parents, what you could do, uh, because this whole year has been a bit stressful for me, being the boards coming, and then the other things, the other activities that they were all involved in, all of it. So I just thought of a few strategies and I implemented those. One is encouragement and support. You need to encourage your child and support, and not really show your expectations that this is what I want from you, but generally encourage and support, that do your best, put your 100%, and the rest is going to come to you, whether it is coming in 100% or whatever percent, it doesn't matter. But always encourage and support them, and help them goal setting and planning, because children are young. 16-year-old, they do not have, like, we can plan, we can strategize. Now we have this webinar, so we know what we are going to do, what is going to be the flow. So for children, you need to as parents, talk with them that this is one paper, how do you think you will be, like, the mind mapping of how to address that paper in front of you, or how to solve the answers. So goal setting and planning, and also what are the kind of expectations you have of a paper, and keeping it very real, not something which is unrealistic. Emotional self-regulation is very important. Jahnavi has spoken about that. So how it affects the mind if we are not emotionally regulated, we might suddenly get an amygdala hijack, which will stop our brain from working, and we will not be able to put all that knowledge out on the paper. So emotional self-regulation, for that, breathing and mindfulness, she has already shared some techniques. Fostering a growth mindset. Now, for parents, it's important that we foster these things from early childhood years. See, when I would talk about, I would always not jump to 16-year-old or 15-year-old who is appearing for the boards, but I would talk about children who is from younger age, they're emotionally self-regulated, they have a growth mindset. So these kind of thoughts and feelings need to be put in their mind from the beginning. It is not to work upon them when they have come to the 16 years of age. So those kind of confidence, Dr. Mayuri spoke about the confidence level. So confidence should be from the beginning. They should feel that they are good at what they are doing, and they should not feel that peer pressure of performance which is beyond their capacity. We should maintain open communication. This Jahnavi has already shared. Need to be very friendly. We should not be like, getting very hyper about stuff that they have said and all. If they want to do something, just listen, and then later, if you want to give them some advice or something which is like, which would help them to focus, yes, you can help with that. So maintaining an open communication with parents is important. Many children try to hide. Now in Guwahati, this situation has happened. Why I thought of bringing this webinar to the forefront, because just when the SEBA examination started, SEBA is our home board, the state board, and the examination started. After the first paper, I think two students they died by suicide because they did not perform well in the English paper. So this kind of pressure now, whether it is self-imposed or it is a parental pressure, societal pressure, I will not go into that. But why is the child not emotionally self-regulated to take that pressure of not performing well in the other papers that are still ahead of them? I mean, this is the not the be all and end all of your life. So the parents need to give that support to the children, and they should not side with the environment or the society, but they should side with their own child and try to help and support them. And also, we should teach our children to focus on the effort and not on the result. What we have heard, what we have learned from the Gita is do your karma and leave the results to to the universe. So the universe already has a plan for you. So you should always focus on your effort. You should not be like, okay, it's matriculation, I'm cool and chill and I'll be partying. Not like that. You have to put in your 100%, but don't think about the results all the time, because that is going to stress you out. And prioritize mental health. So already we've heard from the mental health expert. Mental health is very important, because even if we do not know something, I was personally quite brilliant in studies in my school days, but I was very chill during the exams, and always used to finish the paper early. And then I used to really think, why are the other students writing so much? So, it is the pressure, how you can deal with it. So nobody taught me strategies, because at that time we never used to talk so much about strategies and all. Now we have a lot of things, because the pressure is also growing in the society, be it the entrance examinations, be it whatever. The pressure is really high, and it was not so high at that point, and our parents was not so concerned about what is the result or not. But still, at that time, we could strategize. So children have the capacity, but we need to be the support, the backbone for them. And that is my take as a parent, that what we can do to help children or our child to, sit for the boards. And I feel that completing the boards and coming out, whether in flying colors and whatever colors, is one step ahead. And then they are prepared for the next step in life. And that should not be a path marker for them, but that should be one of the learning steps for them. And with that, I present my parental, observations to this webinar. And then coming to our last speaker, Miss Seema. She is a counselor, and she very well knows the stress of the students uh, who are choosing their career, choosing now, after boards they'll be choosing their streams. There are a lot of things that are involved, and then the parents are also involved in the entire process. So Seema, my question for you is, what small but impactful changes can student parents and educators make to reduce the negative exam of impact of exam pressure? Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vasavi, Dr. Mayuri, Ms. Jahnabi, and Mr. Shubham for sharing your thoughts. So now we need to find out how parents and educators can reduce the negative impact of exam pressure. So first of all, we need to understand role of parents. Why parents they pass stress to their children. First of all, whatever parents could not achieve, when they were students, they see extension of themselves in their child. Okay. They also reject the out of box ideas when the children are coming to them and they're saying that, for example, a child is coming and telling his parent that I want to become a game developer, or I want to become a photographer. So parents immediately reject this type of ideas that, what will you do after you do this? So they burden children with unrealistic expectations. Now, what are the solutions which we can think of as a parent? As we all discussed, that parents must encourage open communication with their children. So first of all, before the communication, as parent, we also need to be good listener. For example, the moment the child returns from school, the first question which we ask, what did you study? Did you get any homework? How did your exam go? So these are some common questions which we all ask. But we should change our approach a bit. We should ask the question like this, did you have fun in school? Did you have fun with your friends? Did you share your snacks with your friends during tiffin time? And after this, we can gradually move towards the academic discussion. This way, the child is going to develop an open communication with their parents, and it will also help them to share their academic struggle as well. Next thing which I often see as a counselor, the student, they struggle with time management and organizational skills. So as parents, right from the beginning, when the child is growing up, we can give them small responsibilities, For example, before going to bed, turn off the lights, right? Check the doors whether it's locked or not. Keep your room neat and clean. Arrange your timetable one day before, just if she's going to school tomorrow, then one day before at night, you should arrange the timetable. Make your child a part of your discussion, allow him to take some decision. For example, you're planning a holiday, you can ask him, where would you like to go? Do you have anything in your mind? What would you like to have for dinner today? What should I cook? So given a chance, what would the child is going to become once you grow up? So when we ask all these questions, they start developing a confidence with their parents and they start opening up. So we have to understand that we are not supposed to force our expectations on our children. Rather, we should be able to understand them. Now, from educators' point of view, as Mr. Shubham also said that, we should understand it's not only students who are under constant stress, but teachers also. Because teachers are also under constant pressure from the management so that the students can perform well in their school, their results are impressive. So it's like a funnel where teachers are given pressure from the management for good results, and then it's automatically passed towards the students. So academic should be based on concept learning rather than rote learning. We see that students, they are able to, when you ask them, can you answer this question? They are able to speak nicely, they're able to explain nicely. But when it comes to writing, they struggle. Why? Because from the beginning, the writing skill has not been developed. So that is one of the reasons for which they are not able to score, because they are not able to write. Educators should also understand that there is a question of individual difference. All the students are not same. We are all different. So rather than focusing on grades, we also need to focus on learning. It might happen some students are not performing well, then what should we do? We can think about something like remedial classes for them. We should make our assessment little flexible by including more of project-based learning, some individual activities, group activities, as I told about remedial classes. Another thing is parents, they meet teachers only during PTM. So, teachers should be approachable. They should tell parents that, whenever you see that there is anything which is triggering the stress in the student, so they should come and discuss freely with the teacher. So the 1:1 meeting should not be fixed to only on PTM, but it should be need based. Whenever the teacher feels it is required to inform the parents, it should be conducted. So we need to be a good listener. We need to understand our students. We also need to understand the family background of the students. These days, students, some of them, they come from broken home. So we also need to understand that also, and we should provide emotional support. And next, most important thing is school and parents, they should be able to take professional helps from career counselors. Especially when the student is giving board in class 10th, they are absolutely confused which stream to take, what subject should be taken. So a career counselor, she guides them properly. She, counselors, they make a proper roadmap for the students. And when the students are still confused, there's something called psychometric test, aptitude test. These are some tests which are conducted and which are really, really helpful. So by working together, parents and teachers can create very supportive ecosystem which will help students' well-being and promotes love for learning and also for their holistic development. So this is what I would like to say. Uh, so that's all
Thank,
from my
thank
side.
you so
Thank you.
much. Very wonderfully pointed out the different strategies that both the schools and the parents can take for the students, for their well-being, for their mental well-being, and also to in order to help them grow, help them have a growth mindset and go forward with not only this board exam but all that is going to come in the life. We are still, it's not one exam in our life. There's so many that we are now we are not even sitting for exam, but we are still we are like students who always face something new challenge as a principal, maybe as a career counselor, as a mental health expert, as somebody who is working. Every day is a challenge, and these actually needs, these are learning steps, like I already said. So we are at the end of the webinar. Before we now wind up, I would just like to hear one line from every speaker that you would want to address either the parents or the students. Any message that you would want to give in a one line strong message. So I would start with Janvi. Any message uh, for the parent or the student, from your end?
Yes, so that one message I would like to give is that the preparation doesn't come only in the board exam. So this is entirely you are grooming a child for the parents. This is for the parents. So this needs to start in an early age, right? The communication and exploring our emotions, whatever we say, and the exam stress. So this needs to be educated to the student at an early age so that they can understand and they can also take out strategies from themselves and learn it, and they can easily deal with it when the time comes. And for the students, I would like to say that yes, there will be comparison, but then you need to look into yourself. And if you look into yourself, you'll know many things where you need to work, where you don't need to work, and in what areas you are good at. So self exploration and introspection would be my takeaway message for the students. So yeah.
Thank you, Janvi. One line from you, Mr. Shubham.
So, for the students, I would say is start early and practice regularly. And apart from that, uh, bring this thing out of your mind. Log kya kahenge? So, if you come out of that, definitely 90% of the job is done. And also, I would say one more thing, like the parents at home should not say ho jayega na selection. So if this thing stops, all the things will get aligned and we will find a peaceful kind of atmosphere in our schools, at home, and also in the colleges when they go out of the school. So this is from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Shubham. Over to you, Dr. Mayuri.
I do endorse to what the other speakers have said, but with my experience and all the other things which have been coming across, I would always say that our children should always think of one, not one, but two options. Because we know that sometimes we are not successful in one, so we can always opt for the other. They should have a belief in themselves first, then they can believe others. So this is very important. Somewhere down the line we do not understand ourselves, we don't love ourselves, but we try to copy others. So if they don't copy others and they do according to their wish and will, and secondly, a faith, they should start with having a faith among their people, the trust of teachers, the trust of parents, the trust of friends. Everyone's trust is needed, because if that trust is broken, then probably somewhere 80% motivation is broken of the child. So if we, the beginning of with the trust is very strong, I think the ending will always be strong. And the last is that physical and mental peace is necessary with the time defined activities. If we sleep in time, eat in time, we eat nutritious food, we will always be very, very healthy, happy go lucky time. And We should not let our kids copy others and ask them to follow that rule of the house. It should be always a rule of the house wherein within the members of the house are following it, not they are copying it. So that's all I would actually quote here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mayuri. Over to you, Ms. Seema.
So most of the speakers have already, highlighted the important points. So I will just conclude with this quote from Albert Einstein: "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Seema. Thank you so much for joining us today. My take on this is a child should, from the initial years, from the early years, be self-motivated and confident. One thing is, I feel that our young generations are lacking is self-motivation. They always want to push, and they are looking for push, but they should be self-motivated, be it in whatever way. They don't need to top the list in exams, but they can be good swimmer, big good player, an actor, be it whatever. But they should be self-motivated and confident, and they need to be focused, because there's a lot of energy coming from all sides, and a lot of positive and negative energy coming from all sides and influencing us. So your focus should be, on your dreams and your goals, whatever that might be. And you should always stay mindful, because if you are mindful, then you're more emotionally self-regulated, and know where you're going. So then you'll always find the right path. So thank you so much. We really had a very insightful discussion, from the perspective of a principal, from the perspective of a counselor, a mental health expert, from a school head, and a director. So we got to, and then maybe a parent output that I had been from a parent end for the first time this time. And we have seen that a lot of things need to be worked upon, the society and the mindset. And I think that the first thing that we have taken up this topic of today's discussion is a first step, is one step forward towards bringing in some kind of a sanity to the entire chaos of the board examination, be it the 10th or the 12th or the whatever kind of entrances. So I feel that if more people in the society address such topics, and make it more verbal and more audible to the people out there, I feel that we can create a change, and we can create a better world for the young ones who are growing up, and we can give them something that we learn from the Finnish education, that it is collaboration and leadership skills that we need to promote, and not competition and something which is a regressive mindset. So I feel that with us, this step that we have taken forward, and many others who are thinking on these lines, we need to take the message out to the society. And I thank you so much for finding time and being a part of this webinar. I know all of you are busy, but you have found time to be a part. And this is a social uh, service that we want to give to the society, because we want that our children should be good. And I feel you are one of those people who are carrying the baton towards bringing that change. And thank you so much for being a part of this. Whoever is watching, thank you all for watching. And this will also be this episode will also be in our YouTube. So if you are working today and not have missed it, you'll get to see it in the YouTube. Thank you once again, and let's hope that the next year both exams are better for our young ones, and everybody has a good time, and we reach our goal happy and in a jolly manner. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Good